Hello and welcome to day 4. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's meditation, and I hope you've used the last 24 hours to practice that meditation and to learn how to release stress out of your body, to get out of your thoughts, get into your body, relax your body, and keep your body in a nice, calm state and shift those triggers. Today we're going to look at the science of meditation. We're going to understand the fear brain versus the mindful brain. And when we understand the science and the physiology that happens within us, again, that leads us to being in a more controlled and aware state, understanding how we operate and how we can consciously create mindfulness in our everyday lives. So if you take a look at this picture of the brain, and I'm going to keep this really simple, I'm going to divide the mind for our purposes into 2 parts. And we're going to look at what's called here the reptilian complex, or the limbic system of the brain, and which is the emotional center of the brain. I love the reference of this being the reptilian brain, because just like a reptile, think about a lizard, how they are always dashing, and if you throw a stick at it or a stone at it, it's going to dart and dash continuously, and that shows us the level of alertness that we're in. We've also got the neocortex, or the frontal cortex, and as we can see here, these 2 parts of the brains are responsible for different functions. When we're talking about mindfulness, we are talking about the development of the prefrontal cortex, that upper section of the brain. I'm not going to go into too much detail because we will look at that at a later stage. However, for our purposes today, what I'd like you to understand is that that part of the brain is responsible for executive functioning, and it's where change happens. We now know, based on modern neuroscience, that our brain can adapt itself to its environment. Through the study of neuroplasticity, we know that the brain can change itself. If we learn new patterns, if we learn how to trigger our relaxation response, and we learn to be in a focused and aware state, we can change responsive and normal reactive behavior. If we look at that reptilian complex, if we look at the limbic system, it's made up of the amygdala and the hippocampus. Basically, what happens is we have an amygdala alert. So what that means is that the mind gets triggered when we are in a state of fear. So it recognizes possible danger or stress outside of us, and it triggers the nervous system as well as the adrenal system to put us into that fight or flight mode, fight, flight, or freeze mode, to handle the stress. That means we release the stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, and it helps us fight that stress. Now, we needed that in our, say, caveman days, because if we were being chased by a bear or some kind of an animal, we had to get up and run. So we need that amygdala alert. We need that response to actually help us when we're in a stress state. The problem being is that for most of us, we are continuously in this stress state, and we don't realize that there is another state of being. So we're not really in a relaxed state at any stage. The hippocampus is responsible for the information transference from short-term memory to long-term memory. And again, when they are triggered, they lead to conditioned response. So the more that we're able to kind of learn to change the internal response, we can recondition ourselves, which is a really exciting science today and understanding of human behavior. So if we understand the nervous system, and we understand that amygdala alert puts us into a fight mode, a freeze mode, or a flight mode, then we can learn how we can change that mode into what we call the relaxation response. So if we look at our fight mode, that's when we go into verbal aggression, physical aggression, any defensiveness, contempt behavior, or stonewalling. Flight mode is a sense of withdrawal, it's an aloofness, it's an inability to communicate. We may become teary and emotional. The freeze mode is an inability to think or focus. The body gets numb, the mind feels cloudy, we feel stuck, and we cannot express ourselves. I like to look at all of these responses as our child response to a situation, because a lot of these started and stem from the first time that we were exposed to stress and fear as children, and this is how we learned how to deal with stress. It comes down to nature of who we are and how we are mapped, as well as environmental situations that triggered us and led us to learn how to deal with stress. I love Herbert Benson's definition of the relaxation response, and this is what happens when we go into a mindful state or a mindful awareness. The relaxation response is a physical state of deep rest that changes the physical and emotion responses to stress, and the opposite of the fight or flight response. That's a really powerful understanding that what we are actually trying to do when we are learning mindfulness is learning how to teach the nervous system to activate relaxation response. And if we look at the science of calm, what happens when we are going into a state of mindfulness using meditation, we can see that we commence into deep breathing. When we connect with our breath and when we breathe deeply, that slows down the respiratory rate. That in turn slows down the brain wave. It takes us out of a very active brain wave to a slower brain wave that's then going to trigger that parasympathetic nervous system or that relaxation response. The higher centers of the brain in the frontal cortex get activated. We are in a more focused state. We have more willpower. We have more self-control. We are able to communicate and articulate ourselves more clearly. We release positive hormones, and we have a sense of calmness and clarity. So that's what happens the minute we start to connect to our breath, to self-soothe, and to trigger that relaxation response. So in our exercise today, I want to give you a fantastic lesson to connect to mindful breathing, because as you can see in the process of the science of calm, it all starts with connecting to our breath. So I'd like you to get comfortable again, press pause if you need to, change chairs, or just sit comfortably. Get your position and your posture really great, feet on the ground, hands by your side, back straight. And I want you to close your eyes and simply become aware of your breath in your body. Feel your inhale breath and feel your exhale breath. Simply stay connected to the flow of your breath, inhaling through your nose and exhale out your mouth. Stay connected with the flow of your breath. Where's the inhale breath in your body? Feel that inhale breath. Connect to the exhale breath and feel it slowly leaving your body. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Note the inhale and where it ends. Note the exhale and where it ends. And stay present with your breath. And follow 8 slow breathing cycles. Slow inhale through your nose. Slow exhales out your mouth. And just follow 8 slow cycles. Slowly become present with your body and notice how you feel. Notice how instantly your breath has calmed your body. Notice how instantly your breath has cleared your mind. Simply by connecting with mindful breathing, being aware and connected to the flow of your breath. And what I'd like you to do over the next 24 hours before our next lesson is I'd like you to practice this mindful breathing. Anytime you feel the mind get busy, or if you feel yourself get stressed, come back to connecting with your breath and count 8 slow breaths. Slow inhale through your nose, slow exhale out your mouth. Sit for a moment and notice how you feel. I love to encourage my clients to do this breathing pattern before they get up in the morning, before you get out of bed, and before you go to sleep at night, and then throughout your day whenever you feel stress. So give that a go. Have some fun with that. Remember to stay connected with your breath. And I look forward to chatting with you again tomorrow.